Hello everybody and welcome to Fitness Reloaded. In today's video, we are going to discuss counting calories for weight loss. So there are two things I want to address. The first one is, should you count calories in order to lose weight? And the second one is, does the quality of calories matter? Meaning, is it just about calories or does the source of calories matter as well? So let's discuss. Started by saying that in order to lose fat, you need to be on a calorie deficit. That means you need to be consuming fewer calories than your body needs for maintenance, okay? Maintenance meaning you neither lose weight nor gain weight. You need to be consuming fewer calories than that if you want your body to turn into its fat stores and for you to burn more fat for energy, okay? To make up for that missing piece that you are not getting through your eating. That said, just because you need to be on a calorie deficit doesn't mean you actually need to count how many calories you are eating, okay? Because you can be on a calorie deficit without actually tracking how many calories you're eating. Many people have done that. There are many different strategies. I've heard, for example, a really big person who used to eat 2 burritos for dinner and then he just started eating 1 burrito for dinner. And guess what? He lost fat. Why? Because that put him on a calorie deficit. Overall, whenever you actually lose fat, irrespective of whether you were tracking calories or not, you lost fat because you were in a calorie deficit, okay? That's how you lose fat. If you're losing fat, it's because you're on a calorie deficit, and if you're not losing fat, it's because you're not on a calorie deficit. But that said, you do not need to track your calories to be on a deficit. Now, if you have tried different strategies to put yourself in a calorie deficit, yet you're not losing any fat, actually tracking your food intake will help you get a better perspective of how much you're really consuming. Because counting calories, okay, tracking your food is also a skill, okay? Many people think that they're doing it right when in reality they're not doing it right. And it's not just the things they don't add. It's also things they miscalculate, things that they don't measure well enough, obviously things they forget, leaks, bites, tastes, here and there, all those things add up and they might give you a completely different picture once you actually start being meticulous with your tracking. And another thing to think about is that if you want to be accurate because you want to know how much fat you're really burning every week, you will be more likely to do that when you're counting your calories, when you're tracking what you're eating versus when you're not tracking what you're eating, okay? When you don't do that, you're kind of like, yeah, I think I'm on a deficit, but we'll kind of find out. But when you're actually tracking, then you're much more likely to have a better grasp of what's really happening. So, if you want to lose weight, you need to be on a calorie deficit. That is a fact, okay? Now, do you need to track calories to be on a calorie deficit? Maybe yes, maybe not. Now, the second thing I want to discuss is whether quantity of calories matters and whether quality of calories matters and what's the difference between the two. Okay, this is a highly contested subject that I think many people do not understand the nuances around it. So let's talk. Let's say you're in San Francisco and you want to go to Los Angeles. Let's say that is 400 miles. Okay, so in order for you to go from San Francisco to LA, you need to do that 400 mileage. And if you don't do that, you will not reach your destination. Similarly, if you want to lose weight, you need to be on a calorie deficit. Let's say if you want to lose 10 pounds, because 1 pound of fat is roughly equivalent to 3,500 calories, that would mean that you need 35,000 calories on a deficit for you to lose those 10 pounds, okay? This is the quantity of calories, just like the quantity of miles. That said, let's go back to the SF to LA example. If you choose to go by car, it's going to be very different than choosing to fly, which is going to be very different than, let's say, choosing to go by swimming, okay? Completely different. And the time that it's going to take you to get there, you might not even get there if you choose to swim, okay? And even if we were to think about just taking your car, if you were, you could go and just go if there's no traffic, but imagine if you had to deal with a lot of traffic. Completely different experience. Same thing with losing weight. So you have those 35,000 calories in our 10 pound, I want to lose 10 pounds example, that you want to be on a deficit. But how you do that, okay, will completely change your experience, okay? The speed that it will take for you to get there, whether you enjoy the ride or not enjoy the ride at all. Maybe, you know, like with the traffic example, if you start out from San Francisco and there's all this traffic in your first scenario, you might be like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to go to LA anymore. I might as well go back to San Francisco, which is actually something that happens very commonly with people who start diets, okay? They don't like what it is they're doing. This is really bad. They're like, I start diets like this, and they go back to where they were and they regain the weight. Okay, this is where the sources of calories actually do matter, because they change your journey. Now, what do we care about when it comes to losing weight? So what type of calories will make your journey better? When it comes to losing weight, what we actually care about is satiety. Okay, so you want to keep yourself full, okay, in fewer calories. And you do this especially by eating foods that are very high in fiber, okay, which actually connects with counting your calories topic we're just talking about. Because if you use a calorie tracker, like let's say MyFitnessPal allows you to track how many fiber grams you eat every day. So this way you get to see how you're doing on the fiber front. Let's say somebody who consumes 40 grams of fiber on a daily basis will have a completely different experience with weight loss than somebody who's consuming just 10, okay? Now, sources of fiber are vegetables and fruits and legumes, okay? These are the go-to sources, whole grains as well, but the things that are really high are vegetables, and then legumes, and then whole grains, in that order, okay? When you consume a lot of these foods, they also take a lot of space, okay? They take a lot of space in your stomach, you feel really full. So if you're someone who consumes 40 grams of fiber, you will be able to sustain a bigger deficit, which means you will be able to lose weight faster without feeling hungry, okay? Because you eating those foods allows you to be able to be on a bigger deficit. Alternatively, maybe you'll decide to not be on a bigger deficit because you don't care about optimizing for speed that much, but you're just gonna have more fun because you feel full, and then you still have more extra calories to spend on other items that you like let's say you might be eating some chocolate, or you might be drinking some wine. That's the equivalent of, let's say, you start from SF, you want to go to LA. Yeah, speed matters, but you might as well just stop along the road and take pictures, okay? You want to stop in Big Sur and see the landscape and, just enjoy the ride. So it depends on what it is that you want to do and how you want your trip to be. But overall, this is how to think about it. Calories are king, okay? Just like to go from SF to LA, you need to do those 400 miles. Like, there's no other way around it. But the sources of calories really affects your journey. Just like trying to swim to LA is very different than trying to drive to LA, than trying to walk to LA, than trying to take a helicopter to LA. Like, all those things are very different. And hitting traffic is different than not hitting traffic. This, again, is something that the source of calories has to do with. That's not the only thing that affects your journey. There are other things, like, for example, how you structure your meals, your exercise habits, your sleep habits, your cooking habits, a lot of different habits. So, for example, in the Fitness Reloaded Weight Loss Habits Academy, we track our habits. We don't just track our food, we track our habits, and our eating habits are just a segment of the habits that we track. Why? Because we do care about this calorie deficit. This is the distance that we need to go through to get to our goal. But in order for us to do that distance, we need to have the supporting habits that will make this, first of all, feasible. We will actually get there. We will not hit traffic and then be like, screw that, I'm going back, okay? Or drown, like the person who decided to swim. Like, we don't want to do that. We want to get there in a way that we think makes sense for us, at the speed that we think makes sense for us, okay? And to do that, just tracking like to say that you can just eat anything you want, because there are some people who say, oh, you know, you could all you could do is eat ice cream every day and you will lose weight as long as you're on a calorie deficit. That is true, but that's not necessarily optimal, okay? If you like this video, please like and then subscribe to my channel to get more content like this, and then come on over to the Fitness Reloaded Weight Loss Habits Academy. I will help you set up the habits that make sense for you so you can do that distance, actually get there, and then never fear that you're gonna gain weight again, okay? Because that's what we're really aiming for. We don't just want to lose weight, we want to lose weight and never fear a weight to regain ever again. Just not have weight loss be an issue that is a problem for us. Okay, so if that sounds exciting to you, come on over to fitnessreloaded.com and please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.